Hi, I'm Derek Kunz, one of the trainers here at Rockstar Gym. This is my daughter Carrena. Say hi, Carrena.
Hi, Carrena.
You're funny. Joint instability is an issue we see quite frequently here in the gym. For children, this is especially troublesome as they run, jump, play, and do what children do. The additional pressure on the joint causes discomfort, pain, and sometimes injuries that require surgery. For adults who are overweight, again, this additional pressure on the joint can cause many of the same issues. Recently, we took Carrena to Foot Solutions in Granger to see Edward Tapia. The thing that impressed me most with Edward working with Carrena was he didn't make her feel like there was a problem with her. Just explained that the hyperflexibility that takes place in her ankles is something that many people have and that it can be corrected. We're actually going to go and let Edward explain what exactly was going on with Carrena's ankles and what he can do to correct these situations. So we're going to go see Edward. Are you ready?
Okay.
What we're going to do is we're going to take your shoes off and we're going to take a look at your feet first, okay? Because what I want to do is we're going to take a look and see how flexible your joints are, okay? And then I'm going to watch you stand and I'm going to watch you walk. What I want to do is I want to look at your gait when you're walking to see if you have any excessive rotation of your ankles outward or inward, okay? Because if you do, when you're running or if you're playing basketball or soccer, what'll happen is that's going to affect what happens to your knees and your hip, okay? So a lot of times athletes, when they overpronate, which is what this is called, they'll have issues with their ankles or their knees or their back. So what we're going to look at is how much movement you have in your ankles and then talk about how you can control that, okay? See, right now I'm looking at your feet to see how flexible they are, and they're very flexible, which is good. Take a look at this one here. Does it hurt at all when I twist your ankle that way or when I push up?
A tiny bit.
Where does it hurt
when
when
pushing up? Like,
where does that hurt?
Like down here.
Right in here?
Uh-huh.
Right where? Let's take a look at that. So when I'm pushing up this way, you can feel it pull right here?
It's going through the bottom of my leg.
Okay, yeah. There's a tendon that runs down from your leg around the bottom of the back side of your ankle. It comes down and run across your foot. So when I'm pulling like this here, pushing upwards, I'm pulling on that tendon. So you're feeling that tendon get real tight and stretch, okay? So let's get your socks back on. I'm going to have you stand for me first. Okay, I'm going to have you stand here for me and just face in that direction. Okay, now one of the things I look at when you're standing is I look at how your ankles are rotating, if they're rotating inward or outward. And just by looking at you standing there, I can see you have excessive rotation of your ankles inwards. And from behind, you can't see this, but I can see this. When your ankles are going in, your knees are going in this way. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to see if you could just roll your foot out that way, not that much, just a little less, right about there. Okay, that's about where your ankles should be if they were in their neutral position. Now let your ankles go. Okay, can you feel that? Do it again for me one more time. Not that much, a little less, right about there. Now if you let your ankles go again, let go. You can see and you can feel your knee's going to go this way, and it actually affects your hip a little bit. So if you are running with all that pounding on your ankles and your knees, every time you're running, your feet are going to do this. Okay? Which is then, just like we did here, is going to take these knees and go whoop. Okay? So go ahead and walk for me straight towards that doorway. Turn around and come back towards me. Now, do you ever feel when you're running or when you're walking that you're not very balanced?
Not very much.
Okay. Turn around and one more time for me. Go ahead and walk. Okay, back towards me. Yeah, what I'm looking at is I'm looking what your feet are doing as you're going through the gait cycle. So what's happening is you're hitting with your heel on the back outside edge, and then as soon as your heel hits, your ankle wants to rotate this way, and as you're walking, your feet are going out this way, okay? Have a seat. Now, these are the shoes you were wearing, right? Okay. Because you have a lot of motion in your ankles, what you want to have is you want to have a shoe that has a lot of support and control, okay? You have an unstable platform. The feet are the platform of your body. It's very unstable. So you don't want to put your feet or an unstable platform on top of an unstable platform because you're going to be all loosey-goosey, right? Okay. So if I look at these shoes, see how easily I can press here in the heel counter? See how easy I can bend that shoe like that? Okay. And see how easy I can twist that shoe. Okay. This is not a very good shoe for your type of foot. Okay. If you came in to see me and you had no motion whatsoever in your ankles and you had a pretty neutral stance and you had a natural gait, you probably can get by with a shoe like this here. You might need maybe a little support underneath the arch area, but you might be able to get by with this shoe initially, okay? But for your type of foot, the flexibility and the over rotation you have, you need something that's going to be very strong. Because if I look at your shoes and I show you, you can just see this one here is actually rolling in. You can see it rolled this way a little bit, okay? That's because your foot, when you walk, wants to roll inward. So we got to look at a shoe that has more support here and doesn't bend in the center. Because what happens, as you're walking, your foot wants to stretch and the midfoot's going to flex downward, okay? If in fact you don't have any support in your midfoot because your foot wants to overflex and over-rotate, it's going to allow your foot to drop like that. See how your shoe bends like a banana? That's what will happen with your foot inside the shoe. So, let's take a look at these. Okay? These are the shoes that you wore in today. Now, again, a little bit more support here, okay? It's more supportive leather, it's a little thicker leather, you've got more support up through the midfoot here, okay? And again, it's stronger up through the center of the shoe here, okay? You want your shoe to bend where your toes bend, but you want to have support here, okay? So, this is going to be 10 times better for your feet than what you had here, because this is going to give you that control and a little bit more support that you need. Now, because you have so much rotation inward, we're going to talk about what we can put inside the shoes, okay, to give you a little bit more support. Let's measure your feet. Okay, stand up for me. Now every time you go buy shoes, you should always have your feet measured, especially at your age, because your feet are growing so quickly. Okay, 6.5. Let's lift up. And let's do this one here. Let's pull full body weight down. Now this one's a little shorter heel to toe, but it's a little wider. So you should always measure to the longer foot, which is this foot here, which I measure you at as a 6.5. Okay?
What's the other one?
The other one is a 6. So you're about a half a size difference, which is typically a norm for most people. Most people don't have perfect feet. Now, what I'm doing here with your shoes is I'm taking the liner out of your shoes, because what I'm going to do is we're going to put an insert in your shoes to give you a little bit more support and control inside the shoe so that they can work together to hold your foot in alignment, okay? I know you hardly ever see this, but you'll see here how much ankle pressure your heel pressure you have here, pressure through the midfoot and up by the toes and the ball of the foot. Now typically I won't see as much pressure towards the inside of the heel here, but in your situation, because when you walk and you roll in, I'm seeing more pressure towards the inside. I'll typically see it in the heel on the outside and over this way, but here most of your pressure, and even if you look at these liners, they want to rotate inward a little bit. So I'm going to get a product and we're going to put it in your shoes. I'm going to have you walk in those, okay? Is we're going to put something inside your shoes so that between the two items are giving you as much support as we possibly can give you right now. Now, if you were 25 years old and you came to see me and your foot had already stopped growing, I would probably talk to you about putting custom insoles in your shoes because your foot has already stopped growing and you could use something a little bit more permanent. But at your age, your feet are going to grow so quickly every year until you're at the age of about 16 or 17. I prefer to work with individuals your age with over-the-counter devices, a little less expensive, and then you can change them out a little bit easier. Now, these supports here, as you can see, when you look at them, they have a nice arch built into them, okay? The arch is there, okay, to support that midfoot. Your ankle's going to want to rotate inward. The shoe is going to hold your foot straight. This is then going to support your arch and give you a little bit more support to keep you walking in a straighter position. Now these will just slide right into your shoe. Okay. Wrong foot? That's okay. That's the right foot now.
I do.
No wonder you walk funny. You're putting the wrong shoe on the wrong foot. Okay, I will tell you when you stand up, you're going to feel that support underneath your arch because you're not used to having that there. Okay?
I can already feel it.
Right. That's going to take some getting used to. So I wouldn't tell you to wear it in your shoes all day the first day. I wear them a couple of hours like tonight, wear them in there for a couple of hours, and then take them out. And then tomorrow wear them a few hours more until you get used to that support underneath your arch, because right now you have this underneath that arch. Okay, go ahead and walk for me. How does that feel?
Comfortable because it feels like something's going down in the shoe.
Because
it's
what?
letting me stretch.
You feel like your foot is rolling more this way?
It's letting me put my foot down. Because, like you said, your foot wants to stretch.
Right.
And it's
supporting
flat.
it, right? Right. Mm-hmm. So you feel more support underneath the center of your foot, correct? Okay, walk again for me. Now, because we don't have something, go ahead and sit down, brother. Because I haven't put anything custom inside your shoe, you're still going to have some slight inward rotation, because the only way we correct that is by putting something more custom where we correct your ankle, okay? So what I'd like to do is I want you to wear these for a few days or a week, get used to having that additional support. And then I want you to come back and see me, because what I can do is I can modify these that are inside your shoe a little bit. And what I'll do is I'll build in a little bit of tilt so that we take your ankles, just like you were rotating your ankles when you were standing up doing this here. What I can do by adding some material to the insole, I can actually I can build that tilt into the insole. Okay? So that then you'll have a little bit more support. And when you're standing, the insole, because it'll be tilted, will correct your ankles a little bit. But right now, I want you to get used to having this underneath your arch so that when I make the correction, it's not too aggressive for you. Okay?
It actually feels good because it feels like a cushion inside my shoe.
Very good. And that's absolutely correct, because you know why? Here's what happens. Let me show you. This is what your foot looks like. Okay? There's 26 bones in your feet. Now when you walk, your heel striking with about 3 times your body weight on your heel. You're rolling to the midfoot, and then you should be pushing off of your big toe. Now if you look at our foot, it has all of these bones in the center there. When you're standing, most of the pressure is on the heel and on the ball of your foot, and there's nothing in the center, so your foot wants to drop. And in your situation, because your ankles rotate inward, your foot is actually doing this here, okay? So what we've done between the shoe holding your ankle a little bit and putting a little bit of support underneath the arch, now when you're walking you have more of a rolling action. You're feeling this being supported, so now you're feeling flat across the whole bottom of your foot, right? Is that what you're feeling? You're feeling this supported, so now you feel like you're grounded a little bit better? Right, because this bridge, okay, in the center is being supported. Now what we're going to do is, I haven't done anything to correct your ankle this way. What we'll do is we'll have you get used to the support in the center of your foot, and then I'll have you come back and I'll tweak the insole a little bit and build some correction so that we can take your ankle back to a neutral position. Because right now when you're standing, your ankle wants to do this. What we want to do is get it back to this position. Okay? So what are you going to do this week?
Get used to my inserts.
Get used to your inserts.